A report has just came out saying the Cincinnati Bengals will most likely walk away from one of their key players on the defense in an offseason where the defense has to be the highlight. This season in 2024, the Bengals had a 19th ranked rushing defense. Passing defense ranked 21st. Total defense ranked 25th in 32 of the NFL teams. But one of the highlights of the defense this entire season was Germaine Pratt, our middle linebacker. And this was his best season by far. Total tackles, 143. That's 10th in the league. Solo tackles, 80. 12th in the league. He had 0 sacks, but he had 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, and 6 passes defended this season. His best season by far. Also, going to this. This is the tweet that Germaine Pratt had to react to this report. Going to talk about this later report. The Bengals have $47 million in cap space. That number could nearly double if they cut some of the veterans on their roster. Will they? This is a great breakdown by Jay Morrison, who has released the report that we were talking about. Germaine Pratt, he had to say clown face. That's literally Germaine Pratt commenting to this report with a clown face. This is similar to last year. Joe Mixon kind of did a similar thing when they discussed maybe the Bengals cutting him, saying this is wild behavior. He ended up getting traded. So let's go into this report right here. Germaine Pratt reacts to the idea that Bengals could cut him this offseason after the best season of his career, being one of the highlights in the defense this year with a struggling defense and need to reverse the defense. They're saying we should cut him. And they're saying it's more than likely that he should come. Let me read you the report real quick. Bengals linebacker Germaine Pratt could be a cap casualty this offseason. Our own May Morrison, who first did the report, gave a detailed look at a possible cut candidate earlier this week. He gave Pratt, listen to this, a 75% chance of being cut. Not a 75% chance of staying on the Bengals next season, a 75% chance of being cut, released from the team. This is his quote. Missed tackles and poor angles were an epidemic for the 2024 Bengals defense, and Pratt was patient 0. Per Sport Radar, Pratt's 18 missed tackles were tied for the third most in the league and second among linebackers. Missed tackles are a volume stat, and Pratt's missed tackle percentage of 11.2 was not nearly as bad. That ranked 27th in the league among players with at least 68 tackles. 4 per team game played. The third among Cincinnati defenders behind his safety, Geno Stone, 15.6, and cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt, 11.5. So there was a lot of things that needed to get better on this defense, and that I think the main thing was, like Morrison wrote, was the missed tackles. And I will say Germaine Pratt missed a lot of tackles. Watching him, you can see he's gone a little bit slower. He has missed a lot of tackles this season. If he can clean that up, he could be one of the best linebackers in the league. And he's still, even missing all those tackles, he still had 143 total tackles, 10th in the league, and 80 solo tackles, 12th in the league. He's a great linebacker, but let's keep reading. The Bengals would clear $5.6 million in cap space if they moved on from Pratt. The veteran didn't like this article corresponding on X with the clown emoji. It's similar, like I said, similar to Joe Mixon's "That's Clown Behavior" line from last season. It is worth noting that Al Golden is a finalist for the defense coordinator job. He was the Bengals linebacker coach for 2 seasons, 2020 to 2021. Will Golden want Pratt on the roster if he takes the job? A reunion could help the 29-year-old's case to possibly stick around in 2025. I think that's the most interesting thing. Al Golden was around when we got both Logan Wilson and Germaine Pratt. He helped develop them into what they are now. So if Al Golden does get the job and he sees Germaine Pratt coming off his best season of his career, I would not be surprised if Germaine Pratt stays on the Bengals because of Al Golden. Knowing him, having a personal relationship with him, knowing how he works in the defensive scheme, I think wouldn't be surprised at all if Golden, if he takes the defensive coordinator job for Cincinnati, which a new report came out said all signs are pointing to Al Golden as the Bengals defensive coordinator. then I think it comes down to Golden, and I think Germaine Pratt stays on the Bengals. He has one more season, literally one more season on his contract. Mike Brown and the Bengals have never been really one to cut anybody or release them before the contract. He usually just stays loyal until the end of the contract and then reevaluates once they get to the end of the contract. That's kind of been the history of the ownership and with the Bengals. This has been a more interesting season. However, really disappointing season, and a lot of fans and players and coaches and staff wanting to make a lot of moves to make sure the season like this doesn't happen again. But that's still to be seen. But now, what do I think we should do? I think it's up to Golden. I am indifferent. I really like Germaine Pratt. I think he is definitely one of the better linebackers, or can be one of the better linebackers in the league if he fixes that the missed tackle problem. But even look at this report. Germaine Pratt, Bengals linebacker, had a team-leading 143 total tackles this season, the most in a season by a Bengals since Vontaze Burfict in 2013. He's a great linebacker. He's honestly probably one of the better linebackers Cincinnati has seen. And he's opposite side of Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson, arguably maybe the best linebacker Cincinnati has seen. And Germaine Pratt had to step up a lot this season when Logan Wilson went down. And seeing Germaine Pratt still put up those numbers when Logan Wilson's not on the field is still impressive. His contract it's not insane either. It would free up $5.6 million in cap space. I don't think that's insane. Maybe you could use that to go, like earlier we talked about trading for Kyle Pitts. Maybe you could go get that. Maybe that money goes to signing Gesicki. I don't know. Maybe it goes to getting a free agent on the defensive line. I don't know. But I think he is a key guy that has been on the Bengals for a while. He was there on the Bengals when we went to the Super Bowl. And I think going away from the players that were there on the Super Bowl team has hurt this team more than keeping or trying to get new players. Jesse Bates was on that Super Bowl team. He's not there anymore. DJ Reader was on the team when we went to the AFC Championship. He's not there anymore. And look what's happened. So I think he's a leader on the defense. He's proven he's one of the better linebackers in the league. If I could see reports saying who they would go get to use that $5 million, maybe I would lean more towards yes. I'm a little bit biased towards Pratt. I really like Pratt. Not saying it's the worst idea to get rid of him, but I think there's a lot of options that we could do, especially with our linebacker core. That which I think is actually one of the underrated things in our defense. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world, but it's definitely underrated. Considering that the draft is coming up, and this is a guy, Jahad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama. Obviously, as you can see, he's on the screen right now. He is a middle linebacker from Alabama going into the draft. Projected first or second round. I think he could slide to the second round. I think Cincinnati could draft him in the second round. It was interesting. If you go to the Bengals depth chart for this season, there is literally zero middle linebackers besides Pratt. Besides Germaine Pratt, there is zero middle linebackers. Zero. I think Jahad Campbell could be that next guy. Germaine Pratt obviously isn't going to be this is going into his fifth season. He's going to be in the league for a while. But he is getting up to that veteran age. And I think with a second middle linebacker with Jahad Campbell could be a perfect fit for Cincinnati. This season, 119 total tackles, 55 solo tackles, 5 passes defended or blocked, sacks 5.5, forced fumbles 2, and 2 interceptions. The main thing I want to focus on is that he had 5.5 sacks this season. They classified him as a linebacker that is very effective and like an edge pass rusher. His pass rushing style is like an edge as a linebacker. Sacks was one of the weakest points in Cincinnati this season. If you remove Trey Hendrickson from the equation with his 17.5 sacks, the Bengals total team has less than 17 sacks combined. Trey Hendrickson outplayed everybody on the defense in sacks. Getting a linebacker that is effective in the pass rushing game would be huge to Cincinnati. If they can go re-sign Mike Hilton, who is huge in the blitzing game as a corner, and then go draft a guy like Jahad Campbell, who was getting 5.5 sacks as a middle linebacker, instantly improves the linebacker core insanely, especially with the young talent that I'm going to be talking about later on in this video. I think that's, if he's available in the second round, go draft him. He is going to be a playmaker day one, immediately day one, and then you can rotate. Germaine Pratt, he's getting a little bit older. He's 29 years old. If you rotate them, Logan Wilson, Germaine Pratt, go draft Jahad Campbell and rotate them all, especially Germaine Pratt and Campbell, rotating them a lot. I think that's improves the rushing defense and passing defense. Campbell does have to work on his coverage a little bit. He's still a little bit slow in reading the quarterback and what he's doing. But still, if you can get Al Golden to develop Jahad Campbell, that's a win for Cincinnati 100%. And there's more guys on the defense that are already there that I think can help this a lot. Akeem Davis-Gaither, he had his best season of his career as a Bengal this season. Total tackles 82, solo tackles 41, one forced fumble, one fumble recovery, one interception, 4 passes defended. He is getting better every single year. If you pair him up with an Al Golden as a defensive coordinator who has a track record of developing linebackers, Davis-Gaither, if he stays in Cincinnati, which that is still a question, that's a huge win for Cincinnati. And then another guy that I think is showing out, and I did a video a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, is we move Shaka Hayward up from the practice squad, and he played the last 4 games, but the last game of the season against Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh, listen to these stats, in just one game, 4 total tackles, 3 solo tackles, 1 stuff, which means basically he blocked the gap and the running back and stuffed the running back pretty much, 1 stuff against Najee Harris and their offensive line, and 1 forced fumble in the game. Listen to it. That's not season stats. That's 1 game. 4 total tackles, 3 solo of them, 1 stuff against Najee Harris, and 1 forced fumble in 1 game against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Shaka Hayward, once again, with Al Golden, is going to turn into a threat in the Cincinnati linebacker core. And if you can go add a guy like Jahad Campbell, that's insane. I think we shouldn't just get rid of Pratt and then go draft a middle linebacker, because that still lives with 1 middle linebacker, and that means Jahad Campbell or whoever we go get, or if we get a free agent, isn't going to be able to stay in the game every single down. That means you're going to be putting weak side linebackers in the middle linebacker position, or strong side linebackers in the middle linebacker position. I'd rather keep Logan Wilson, who's weak side linebacker, have Germaine Pratt as the starting middle linebacker, have Akeem Davis-Gaither and Shaka Hayward rotating as the strong side linebackers, and have Jahad Campbell and Germaine Pratt rotating as well as the middle linebacker. I think that improves the defense's rushing game immediately just from drafting 1 guy alone and keeping the guys you have on the team now and allowing Al Golden to develop them. I think that improves the defense of running game and the defense of passing game, especially in short yardage, 100%. Day one, if you go get Jahad Campbell and implement him correctly, and I think Al Golden would know exactly what to do with a player like Jahad Campbell, instantly improves the defensive line or the defensive rushing game immediately. Shaka Hayward proves this season, Shaka Hayward proves he should be on the 53-man roster. He should be. This man needs to be on the 53-man roster going into the 2025 season. If he's on the practice squad again this season, that's a mistake. We should figure out how to sign Akeem Davis-Gaither. I don't think we should get rid of Germaine Pratt, and I think we should go draft a guy like Jahad Campbell. And there's a lot of linebackers in this draft class. In this draft class alone, there's a lot of guys. Like I said, I'm a Buckeyes fan. Cody Simon, you could go get Cody Simon in the 6th round, and he would be a good guy that you could implement into day one schemes with a guy like Al Golden. And Al Golden is going to have a lot of time watching him tomorrow, or I guess today, in the national championship. But if Jahad Campbell is available in the 2nd round, go get him. This is the linebacker core I want to see. I don't have a picture of Logan Wilson, but Logan Wilson, Germaine Pratt, go get a guy like Jahad Campbell with Akeem Davis-Gaither and Shaka Hayward. That improves Cincinnati's run game, defensive game, immediately day one in 2025 with a guy like Al Golden who has a track record, a proven successful track record of developing linebackers. The reason we have Logan Wilson and Germaine Pratt is because of Al Golden. And I think if you give him this linebacker core, goes from ninth total rushing defense to at least 12th. 100% without a doubt in my mind. But thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think we should do in the linebacker core, what you think targets we should go after, maybe in the draft or maybe in free agency. Don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel. This channel has gotten a lot more attention the past few episodes, and make sure that you are subscribing to the channel if you're a Bengals fan and you love the Bengals just as much as I do, because we're going to be talking a lot during this offseason. There's a lot of offseason. I think this is the most pivotal offseason in Bengals history, depending if the Super Bowl window is closed or open. I think it rides off of this offseason. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Good night and God bless.